man's got fire and a wild hot take. Andrew's stats make the whole place shake. Laughing loud when your team goes down. Straub Boys run this sports town. Straub Bros Sports Show. This is the Straub Bros Sports Show. Sundays, Mondays, we live for the fight. College game day and Thursday night. Rivals fall and the banter flies. We bleed our teams till the day we die. two loud mouths and a love for the league. From Cleveland roots to the world we go. This is the Straub Bros Sports Show. Straub Bros Sports Show.
Welcome everybody to the Straub Bros Sports Show. As I almost derailed the entire thing right before it started, I almost hit end stream. But we're not ending quite yet. We're just started. Right. Welcome everybody to the Straub Bros Sports Show. Big Bro Ken checking in with you as always with Little Bro Drew. Little Bro, how was your weekend, buddy?
We'll get into it, but unfortunately my fears were realized, and so not too great on the football side. Had some fun outside of sports, but other than that, yeah, sports weren't doing too hot, so nothing really to quote on this podcast.
Fun outside of sports, I can tap in with that this weekend. We vibing. Yeah, it was a great weekend of sports. It was a weekend of, I've said it twice now, once on the post and then now here in the show. It was a weekend of upsets, blowouts, great games, amazing comebacks, and whatever the hell your Cleveland Browns were doing on Sunday. But we're going to get into but that's all right. We're going to get into all of that, but we're going to start off the top with the thing we start with all the time, every time, baby, and that is your college football, your top 25. Drew, how did they do? Let's tap in and find out. We start at the top, and man, I'm kind of getting tired of this, but you know what? Got to put respect on their name. Ohio State, number one, tried and true, 48-10 winners over UCLA. Drew, this game wasn't close. I was able to peek at it for a second or two Saturday night, and that was about all I needed.
Yeah, it was one of those games where you saw it start to get out of hand just super early, and we all saw it coming. This was one of those games where UCLA didn't have their starting quarterback. Even with their starting quarterback, probably wasn't going to be much of a fight, but even then, you look at it, and again, we talk about it every week for Ohio State. Unfortunately, not a lot of teams on their schedule that have been playing well this year, but none of them have been close, and so we can't truly dock them for it.
No, and shout out to Stephanie tapping in with us. Listen, they got to play who's in front of them. They got to play who's ahead. They taking care of the teams that they're taking care of. That's all we could ask for. You're gonna throw me off because I'm still gonna throw comments up because I see Ray's comment there. But obviously, you guys see, we played around with our StreamYard a whole lot after the show last week. So Drew's got some things kicked up with the comments being on the screen, throwing the logo out. My man was cooking. But yeah, Ohio State doing what they're supposed to do, man. That's what it is. Speaking of doing what you're supposed to do, we both get a win on this one. That's all I'm going to say about this game. But
they scored 7.
Indiana moves to 10-0. I'm sorry, 11-0. Did I not update the rankings? Oh, throw the whole thing away and kick us out. But either way, Indiana remains undefeated, 31-7 over Wisconsin. Okay, Indiana doing what they're supposed to do, holding off Wisconsin, not allowing Wisconsin to rebound off of any of the momentum of last week, taking care of business.
No, absolutely. And listen, we knew this was going to happen. Wisconsin, while better defensively, and listen, 31 against Indiana, it's definitely better than some other teams. We knew this Wisconsin team offensively just really had nothing going to it. And so Indiana did, again, what they were supposed to do and absolutely took care of business. And I think that's where we can stop saying that so far.
Man, I was able to sit and watch this game all Saturday morning or afternoon, and I was blessed. Texas A&M down 30-3 at halftime, storms back in the second half and wins 31-30. Drew, teams in the SEC were 260, I'm sorry, and 268 when they were down by 27 plus points at halftime. We got a 1. And damn it, South Carolina, we hype you for this game every time because every year you come through for us on this. They weren't at home, and I can tell you right now it absolutely matters. My stepdad sitting right next to me on the couch. He looked over at me and went, they ran out of gas. And I was like, you're dang right they did. South Carolina had nothing left. They even had a chance with the ball with under 2 minutes, and the Texas A&M defense just took them apart. Drew, a historical comeback, but does it make you side-eye Texas A&M just a little?
It does. And I think, and there was a big kind of internet scuffle after this game, and that I want to get your see what side of the fence you're on, because if we look, obviously we're going to talk about 4, and then we're going to talk about number 16 Georgia Tech and number 17 and 18 USC and Michigan. There was a tweet that was put out by, I want to say, an SEC reporter that basically, for this result and then the Alabama result, which we'll talk about, claiming this is showing the depth of the SEC, and this is proving that this is the best conference in college football, which obviously a lot of claim that are, and they have a lot of, stuff to back it up. However, they've since pulled up previous tweets from this analyst that has discouraged teams like Georgia Tech, USC, Michigan for losing to the lower tier teams or even playing them close. And while I want to give Texas A&M credit and also say, yes, this does concern me, I want to stop that narrative, or stop that, I should say, dichotomy of one where when the SEC plays a team close, a lower tier team, it's because the conference is so deep. But then when a ACC, Big 10, Big 12 team plays a lower tier team close, it's because the conference isn't that good. And I want to, honestly, I think you have to combine it. You have to say either no conference is above is that good, or no conference is that good. You kind of have to just go it across the board.
Yes and no. Hear me out, though. Beating the dregs of your conference matter if your conference is actually good. Now, in years past, this has been a tad bit overrated, because I don't care what that top 25 tells you now. Vanderbilt used to be a place that you just went and got a win no matter what. Okay. Missouri has had ups and downs, but has been that team. There's a team in the SEC called Mississippi State. Okay. Arkansas has had ups and downs, but it has been the bottom. The thing that the SEC gets that is sometimes what it should get and sometimes gets overblown is they have Alabama, Georgia, Ole Miss. Tennessee has its up and down years, but let's take those 3. Give me Alabama, give me Georgia. Give me those 2. They're powerhouses, okay? No other conference can give me 2 teams like that until the Big Ten added Oregon and USC. Because I'm sorry, Big Ten. Yes, you can give me Ohio State every year, and I got no beef with that. but Indiana has barely been good and been relevant for the past 50 years. Wisconsin is a fraud, and everybody knows it. Michigan has years where they're really, really good, and then they have years like this year where you're just like, eh. You don't have a consistent powerhouse next to Ohio State, and now you do with Oregon. The problem is Oregon it doesn't carry. They haven't won, actually. Let's put it like let's bring it to the chips. All right, it's time to put the rings on the table like Pat Riley does. Okay, Alabama got rings. Bama got rings. Ohio State got rings. And then we got Clemson. Like, if Clemson was in the Big Ten, we could have this conversation. Okay, so first things first, the top is the top. The bottom is the bottom. And I hate to break it to you, Big Ten fans, the bottom of your conference has been absolute dog water for years. Rutgers, atrocious. Maryland, just scraping it together. Northwestern, come on, guys. Like, the bottom of that has so many more teams that are awful that no, I don't give you credit when you whoop up on a team like that. Now, this year, with teams like UCLA is not a horrible team. I don't look at that as a beatdown. Michigan, we'll talk about it later, struggled with Northwestern because Northwestern has actually played some good football this year. As your conference goes up, yes, it's okay to look at some of those wins and go, you know what, that actually is a good win. But then it's also okay to then still pick at the bottom and go, no, that's not a good win. Now, here's the thing. I've watched this South Carolina football team. That's a really good defense. They have great athletes. They just don't have a quarterback. So, no, it's not always equal. So if I had to rank the UCLA win and the South Carolina win, I'm going to put the South Carolina win higher. However, beating a team this year like Iowa, I don't know, or give me a mid to lower tier team in the Big Ten.
I think Northwestern, who Michigan played this week.
There you go.
Or Minnesota.
Northwestern or a Minnesota win, I would have put just as level with South Carolina. Now, not everybody does that, but for me, you asked me the question, there's levels to it, man. It always should be fluid. I don't like to do this. I rank those teams by how you beat them. 3 years ago, beating Vandy didn't give you anything from me. This year, beating Vandy means a lot. A couple years ago, beating Nebraska was nothing. This year, you actually got to try to beat them.
I agree. I think the issue is with me is not how bad the bad teams are, right? That's not a discussion, because I agree 9 times out of 10 that the bad teams in the SEC are probably still somewhat better than the bad teams in the Big Ten or the ACC. I'll give you that, because there's just a bar that I think the SEC clears most times. However, I personally rank how you beat those teams the same if you're one of the big dogs. So if Ohio State plays a Minnesota or an Illinois, I think is a better one there, and A&M plays South Carolina, if Ohio State beats Illinois by more than what A&M beat South Carolina by, I'm giving the advantage to Ohio State, because yes, Illinois may be a little bit worse than South Carolina. However, if you are the top of your conference, you should be easily beating the lower tiers of your conference, regardless of how quote unquote bad they are.
Now, that's a different conversation, because I was having the overall conversation.
Absolutely. And I agree with you there.
Okay. So, yeah, so right now, blowout to blowout, if it was the same score, I would rank South Carolina, the victory over South Carolina, over UCLA. However, Ohio State dominated UCLA whistle to whistle. It took literally an historic collapse for Texas A&M to beat South Carolina. So here, I might be smart. I'm not committee smart yet. Texas A&M can stay at 3. I'm good with it. All right, let's move on. And this
they might not, honestly, based on some other results.
No, and I don't think they should now either. But let's move on, because we got another big one to talk about and derail half of this show. Alabama goes down in Tuscaloosa as they fall to Oklahoma 23-21. Drew, John Mateer back in the Heisman race.
The issue is, and honestly for me, this is very true. No quarterback that has played great games, like had great games, has done it consistently like in years past. And obviously it opens up for other positions at that point, but I honestly don't really think that there's any other positions that are playing that well or having such a breakout year so far.
Which kills you.
Anyway, dude, I want someone to stand out. Listen, even if a quarterback is the one to do it, absolutely. However, when you're having such an up and down year from your quarterbacks, it would have been so good for a back-to-back non-quarterback Heisman years. That would have been phenomenal.
Ashton Johnson runs away with the Heisman this year, buddy, unfortunately.
He should have ran away with it last year. However,
couldn't run away from that Cowboys defense last night.
Yeah.
Mom is in the house. Love you, mama.
But let's get on to the game. Yeah. Alabama. Listen, I'll give all the credit in the world to Oklahoma because they did what they were supposed to do to Texas, and that was control the game and make Alabama's offense uncomfortable. Because listen, this Alabama defense is very good. This Oklahoma team, 23 points is not even close to how high they should be. Not even close to what they normally get. But holding this Alabama offense to 21 points at home is a very, very good accomplishment. Because when you look at it, this Alabama team, multiple top 25 wins in recent weeks. Vandy, Tennessee, Missouri. You look at stuff like that, and you look, okay, this Alabama team's hitting its stride. Multiple games where they go on the road, take care of business, and this Oklahoma team, while initially looked to be similar to those teams, the more you watch them, the more you realize this Oklahoma team, unlike the Vandys, the Tennessees, the Missouris, have been able to win these close games and come through in these close games against top opponents. And so, is it surprising Oklahoma won? No, I don't think so. I think it's more surprising that Alabama, with how well they were playing, I don't want to say stooped down, but just massively underperformed against this Oklahoma team. And I think it's more credit to Oklahoma than it is a diss to Alabama.
First of all, and listen, I appreciate what you do for us, bro. And I appreciate the comments being on the chat. It's going to take me a show or two to get used to this. So, first of all, salute to Rapids GM player and that's my guy. All right, that's my brother right there, Morgan Hill, tapping in with us as always. And I'm gonna leave. We'll come back to that. We'll come back to that. We got time. All right, 100% right, bro. We've watched this Oklahoma team play in this game. Okay, take away for Oklahoma the really bad result in the Red River rivalry, and they've pretty much have handled business. I know there's another loss there, but they've been in these games. We knew that they could come out and play good defense. This is not the old Big 12 Oklahoma. Brent Venables has brought in a different level of defensive effort and defensive players and all of that, okay? To not see Alabama be Alabama, like you said, it was really surprising. It's all credit over to Oklahoma because they won the game. But yeah, Alabama slipped up at a time where slip-ups can be very, very costly. I don't think I mean, spoiler alert, we're going to find out in like 2 hours. By the way, shout out to ESPN and to Disney and YouTube. 10 o'clock Friday night, I got my ESPN back. I was able to throw on the Louisville Clemson game. So we were locked in all weekend. I didn't have to try to illegally stream and watch old broadcast or watch Gamecasts on my phone like I'm freaking in college again. But nonetheless, yes, we'll find out. But I don't think Alabama's going to slide very far. I really don't. They'll slide, but we'll see. However, an opportunity there, but a big opportunity seized by Oklahoma.
No, you're right.
All right, let's keep it rolling. Georgia. Whew. Remember that Texas team? Remember with that pregame speech I gave on Thursday? Texas, you got to tap into that Red River rivalry. Hey, I said it again. That you got to tap into what you had against Oklahoma. Man, they may have tapped into it on the bus, but then they tapped out. We're not vibing, okay? Georgia, 35-10 over Texas. Drew, it wasn't close. My question is, let's go bigger picture. Can we really start to take Georgia serious? Or is this Texas team so up and down and bad and out not playing to potential that it really doesn't matter?
I mean, I think both can be said if I'm being completely honest, because yes, this Texas team has kind of one opponent that they can really get on, and that's a team with an average defense, but an offense that is not good enough to stand up to their defense. And they take control on the defensive side, and that gives the offense turns to run up the score. However, I want to give credit to this Georgia team because we said it last week. This Georgia team, especially ran by Kirby Smart, is insanely well coached. They know exactly what they're supposed to do. They're not going to get messed up by the other team's schemes or what they're throwing at them. They're going to run their plays and they're going to do what they need to do. And that's exactly what Georgia did here. When you look at what Texas tried to do, Texas tried to move the ball around. Texas tried to do things to make the Georgia defense kind of run around, spread out, and nothing worked because this Georgia team is very disciplined. This Georgia team knows how to absolutely shut you down offensively and then just absolutely just eat away at the clock. They had 11 more minutes of possession than Texas. They ate the clock, they ran it down, and they just gave Texas as little opportunity to get back into this game as the game went on, because this Texas team wasn't, I don't want to say they got absolutely outclassed. However, this Texas team, especially when it comes offensively, is very limited. And when you rely on your defense, you have a team like Georgia that's so good at eating clock, that defense gets tired, they start to get sloppy, and they can't hold a team like Georgia there forever. And so I'll end it with, I think Texas has really shown where their ceiling is with this game. And I think that's going to really hurt them in the rankings unless they somehow completely turn a 180. But then when you look at Georgia, I think Georgia, while also has a limited ceiling, is much higher because of the discipline that they have on all phases of the game.
I legit had to answer a work text in the middle of you ranting, so I appreciate you ranting. I hate my job so much. I'm done. First of all, thank you for talking about. I don't want to talk about Texas no more. Go away. I don't want them in the top 25 anymore. Go away. Georgia, I still need to see it proved. I know you can. I'm not here. No, not beating everyone in the SEC gets you a great pat on the back, because this win means zero to me, because Texas is a fraud and I don't believe in it. So keep going. You've got bigger games ahead of you. This is all going to play out. And I like the way they're playing right now, but no, I can't. And I also could only have listened to you. I apologize.
No, all I was going to kind of add on to the end was, yeah, I don't think this the win against Texas doesn't mean anything in their game. However, the score line shows that this Georgia team is ready to they're not going to be losing these stupid games late in the season. Unlike an Alabama, almost unlike an A&M, they are too disciplined for that.
And the biggest thing here is they have a young quarterback who's starting to feel out he was played a couple games. I mean, actually it was really only the playoff game last year. This is his system this year. He's starting to roll into it. He's feeling it. This is how we roll. So we'll see. Texas Tech, I mean, nice and easy. 48-9 over UCF. Boom, come in, take care of business. That's how we do it. Ole Miss, 34-24 over Florida. It's really funny that you brought up the tweet, because we can just keep talking about it for a lot of those games. Normally, I would say Florida's a fraud and we don't care about it. We've seen how they've played against the better teams in the SEC. They show up. Ole Miss struggled, still won. Not impressive, though.
No, however, we've talked about it. This Florida team, they're very talented. They have a lot of athletes. Similar to South Carolina, they have a lot of athletes. They're able to just make games close. Now, do I kind of knock Ole Miss on this because it's potentially them looking past Florida and that can get them into trouble? Absolutely, because I think that Oregon win and your win are much more impressive to, or even honestly, the Texas Tech win is much more impressive to me than this Ole Miss win. And so, if we're going to talk about kind of how you beat certain teams, I'll give credit to Florida for having the athletes and everything like that. But at the end of the day, they're 3-7. They're 2-5 in the SEC. This shouldn't be a close. You shouldn't have to score 14 unanswered points in the fourth quarter to beat this Florida team. And so, is it a win to keep moving? Absolutely, but it's also something to note.
Agreed. We'll move on. Oregon, speaking of, 42-13 winners over Minnesota. Boom, handle business. I'll give you a little bit of that because we did talk about that Minnesota team. It is a team that, is not a terrible team. So,
no.
And that's a team that has been down to their third string quarterback for multiple games as well. So, I mean, yeah, okay, Oregon, do what you do. Nobody really believes in you, though, after watching you struggle with Penn State and Iowa. So we have an eye on you. Number 9. And you see I got my business professional on today, Drew. Notre Dame, 37-15 winners over number 22 Pitt. I'm going to keep it 100. I wanted 100.
I know you did.
And when we got down up to about 37, I wanted half 100 so bad. I wanted to put 50 on them. I wanted it so bad. We dominated this game at the line of scrimmage. We dominated it on defense. The offense, I'll be honest, it had some struggle. This Pitt defense came to play. They had a big pick, interception in the first half that they took to the goal line that they didn't score any points out of. But I mean, at the end of the day, we had a pick six. I mean, it started with an early touchdown and a pick six, and before you could turn around, we were up 14-0, and we never looked back. Shout out to Pitt coach Pat Narduzzi, who tried to run and succeeded with a complete garbage time touchdown with no time left, to which our coach barely shook his hand and then shrugged him off when he tried to give him a hug. Love Marcus Freeman for that. You want to play dirty? Fine. We should have put 50 on you because we had opportunities to, but we didn't. All around, we dominated, and I'm glad because this is one of the first ones all year that there's been some talking. All right. And we backed up. We didn't have to back up our talk because we don't talk. We make plays. That's what we do.
Okay, let's get that all out. It's for some reason you took a 7-2 Pitt team very personally. I'm very interested on that.
That coach started it. Listen, don't talk about they can put 100 on us. We don't care. And then you're trying to score a garbage time touchdown with no time left when you're down 37 to whatever, 37 to whatever. Like, come on. You care. You must have cared then because 100 didn't. If we could have put 100 on you, you're not going for that touchdown. So clearly you cared. Clearly, you wanted to make us out of pocket and you wanted to get in our mind. And that mind game got you dominated in an absolute garbage stadium, too. I want to point that out. And there, Pitt, take some of that money and put it in your stadium because it sucks.
I think you're taking this way too personally and reading too much into it. Anyways, no, listen, this is a performance that shows, yes, we had 2 losses at the beginning of the season, but we are a top 10, top 15 team in the nation. Like, that's exactly what this is. And listen, Pitt obviously did not have a great day going offensively. Your defense is very, very good. And listen, they're a borderline top 25 team, but that should be the difference between a 10 or a top 5 to top 15 team and a top 20 to top 30 team. That is the difference. You did exactly what you were supposed to do. The offense, while not electric, absolutely did its job. And your defense stopped them from capitalizing on any momentum that they could have had. It was a professional performance, and you did your job. Move on. Do what Marcus Freeman would do and move on.
So give me a second here. What they got going on at Pitt is great. That young quarterback was in high school like 6 months ago. Just keep that kid healthy, and you guys will be okay, and you'll be a player in the ACC. Can we talk about something? Can my man get some love? Jeremiah Love.
I can't. And I'll tell you why. Because what did we talk about all last year? And it was the reason why we were giving Jaunty this. When there is it's 95% a quarterback award. We have said this till we're blue in the face. However, we have said when there are years where quarterbacks are having mid-seasons, every single one of them, you look for mostly wide receivers, running backs having record-breaking seasons. And we saw that with Aston-Jaunty. He literally was breaking records at Boise State that were college records. They weren't even team records. When you look at Jeremiah Love, he's not top 3 in yards. He's not top 3 in touchdowns. He's not top 3 in average yards per game. He may have the longest touchdown run, but not get him the Heisman because he has a 94-yard touchdown run. The issue for me is that when you look at the running backs, no one stands out. No one truly sets themselves apart in the running back room. And so that's my only issue, because you have quarterbacks having decent years. And so, but not great. So you have that opportunity, but I don't think Jeremiah Love has done enough to listen. Yes, listen. He has all the intangibles, absolutely. But we're talking about setting yourself apart from the rest of the pack. I don't think he's done it. Just saying.
That's fine. Hey, Jeremiah Love for Heisman. We'll keep it rolling. Texas, we talked about. Nate, I love you.
It's not getting you the Heisman.
Listen,
being super twitchy is not getting you the Heisman.
We good. We good. We're just gonna keep it moving. We talked about Texas. We talked about Oklahoma. BYU, welcome back to the winning side of football. 44-13 over TCU. I told you it was coming on a bounce back game. That doesn't surprise me there. Utah. 55-28 over Baylor. Boom. See you later. Vanderbilt, week off. Miami, back to not just the winning ways, but taking care of business. 41-7 over NC State. Whew. Georgia Tech. I try so hard to give you some love, and then you just do stuff like this. Georgia Tech, 36-34 over Boston College. A 1-8 Boston College team.
Yeah, listen, I will say this Boston College team has played close games all year. I'm not giving Georgia Tech, the benefit of the doubt here. I'm just saying Boston College team is better than 1-10. That's all I'm going to say. However, the issue also becomes now, because this only Georgia Tech loss came to NC State and Miami just put the beat down on NC State, there is a clear similar opponent. Miami has the edge. And so that result, the Boston College result, doesn't help. However, neither does the Miami.
It won't stop. First of all, yes. You can't. What the biggest thing in the room for Notre Dame right now, up until this week, because it was finally a ranked win, has been the fact that Texas A&M is sitting there at the top of that, in that 3 spot, up at the top. Hey, we got a loss, but we took them toe to toe. The Miami loss has been floating up and down depending on Miami's playing. When you have that common opponent, and you lose, and then Miami goes out and just hammers them, and that's who you're neck and neck with. Yeah, that's tough for somebody in the committee to go, but wait, Georgia Tech.
Yeah, and especially because you're in a conference where probably only one's going to get it.
Right. Sorry, I thought you were going to make a longer point. Derailed. USC, 26-21 over Iowa. It was awful. It was raining. It was nicer in Iowa City than it was in Southern California. And it was a mess. And it still almost started like a track meet with an early Iowa touchdown. Then this game came back to life. And as it is every week with Iowa, they play really good defense. They hold you close, but they just don't have the quarterback that can make the plays consistently when it matters to win them games when they matter.
I talked about it because you were kind of ragging on them last week. I talked about it. They're playing close games, and that's really, really good. If they can keep these core players, especially defensively, and also some of their skill players, and just get a dude in either the portal or get someone, just throw money at some guy, or potentially, even harder to believe, get someone to commit that they can develop. This is going to be a top 15 team. If you can get a quarterback, if you can keep your core and you get a quarterback that you can just put out there and he's going to throw the ball and move the ball around and get it to those talented skill players, the top 15 team in the nation, because that's not a 26-21 loss. That is a 35 or 42-26 win.
Problem is, we've been talking about this for Iowa since before you was born, Brody.
However, last year fired their head coach. This is the first year. As long as the backers or whoever should see this vision of all these close games against really good opponents and go, he knows what he's doing. He just needs the support.
Could you imagine? And how cool would the Iowa wave be at 8 o'clock on an ESPN game? Prime
in a
time.
CFP game? Are you kidding me?
Come on, man. Let's go. All right.
That's what I'm saying.
Let's keep it moving. Lost my train of thought. There we go. Michigan, 24-22 over Northwestern. Drew, here we go. Is Northwestern good or does Michigan kind of suck?
The funniest thing is
the answer is both.
Yes. Bryce Underwood had probably his best game, first half of football in his entire college career. The issue is Michigan missed 2 field goals, fumbled, and then had 2 late interceptions that, granted, were Bryce Underwood's fault, and then added another fumble in at the end of the game. It's so weird for Michigan because we talk about Michigan in terms of, the defense is there, but it's similar to Iowa. You just need a quarterback to pull that team together. The quarterback had it rolling. The quarterback actually had a great game. The issue is 3/4 of the game, everyone else let him down, and then he went back to being Bryce Underwood in the fourth quarter. So the fact that they were able to win off of all of that is impressive. However, it also shows even when your quarterback does good, you don't have the people around him yet to truly be a force in this top 20.
What I love is I've been calling Michigan average for weeks. And I mean, I understand to be in the top 25, it doesn't necessarily make you average, but I'm sorry. There's the college football playoff half, and then there's everybody else. Okay. Michigan doesn't belong in that top half. They're average. They squeak through on these victories. They can't put complete games together. And when they do, they blow out a team. The problem is the teams that they're blowing out aren't good when they finally put those complete games together. And I'm sorry, when you're squeaking out wins against a Northwestern team that is okay but not great, if a big team hammered, and if Michigan hammered them, I'd be like, okay, respect. You squeak out a win, and I'm going to go, it tells me more about you than them. And although he is an Ohio State homer, he's not wrong. They suck. And I've also but you know what I mean. And also in saying that, I've also been looking side eyes at my Buckeyes guys and saying, you better not lose to this team. This is not a Michigan team you should lose to. This Michigan team has nothing compared to what those other teams were. That team last year had a great defense. The offense just kept not being able to roll. This team plays some suspect defense, doesn't have a great offense. It's there.
And also this is one of the better defensive teams that we've seen out of Ohio State at pretty much in ever. And the offense has been rolling. So that's double, because before it was the offense will just take over. It doesn't matter what the defense does. And then if the offense struggled, they got in trouble. Now it's both. Now they got both rolling. So they have no excuse other than literally the Alabama-Georgia effect.
That's what they have to worry about, getting too cocky. Because
Yeah,
rivalry games matter. We will be touching on those. Well, I'll be touching on some of those Thursday. Somebody won't be doing that with me. Solo Straub Bros Sports Show on Thursday. Pray for me. I'll need your comments. Let's keep it going. Virginia 34-17 over Duke, taking care of business. They were an underdog. They took it personal. It won't happen in terms of them getting kicked out, but I don't disagree with this statement. You lose to this Michigan team, I don't want you in. But I didn't want them in last year when they lost to that Michigan team, but they handled their business. I humbled in the national championship game. I take my L's. Louisville, 20-19 losers over Clemson.
Oh, this Clemson team.
I cannot believe that I'm going to start this game segment here specifically. Hey, whoa. Don't tell me to calm down there, 2 losses. I just gave you credit and said that you handled your business in the playoffs. You're rightful national champions, blah, 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 blah. Don't start with me, right? I can't believe I'm going to start a segment with a team that won with criticizing the team. I am so damn tired of Dabo. This dude does the freaking post-game press conference. That's what we do at Clemson. We never die. We take care of our man. You're like 4 and something. Shut up, Dabo. Shut up. You upset a Louisville team. Clemson upset a Louisville team. That should get you fired.
Yes, but also I think we talked about this at nauseum at this point. This Louisville team at their best could beat pretty much almost, I would say, anyone outside of the top 3 on their best day, but then could also lose to anyone inside the 138 on their worst day. It's very interesting to me to watch this Louisville team be so reliant on their offense working against another team's defense. I think they are so rigid in their scheme that there's just so little room for flexibility for them to truly be a contender, because anytime their offensive scheme doesn't work against a team, I have not seen them been able to just move and transition and flex to a different scheme or a different way of playing, and it's bad.
And that is the one way Clemson can beat you. If you're going to just let Clemson stick at their game, Dabo, as much as I'm tired of him, is a he's a great enough coach that he will get his guys to eventually make enough plays to win that ball game. If you switch it up on them, you can run Clemson off the field. Louisville can't switch it up, so they are the ones who then take this close loss. And for me, that's it. Pack it up, Louisville. I'm about done with you.
They're done.
I know the ACC is still very much wide open, but I'm good.
No, well, listen, Miami is at 2 losses. Georgia Tech's at 1.
Right.
Virginia is at 2. You have multiple teams ahead of them that are at 2 losses. Now that they got that third, it's very, very tough for them.
The problem is one of them has to be in there, so we're going to get stuck with one of these bums. Iowa, we talked about. Pitt. Hey, what happened in that?
Move along.
I am. I was just joking. Tennessee, your favorite team in the world, 42-9 victors over New Mexico State.
Good Lord, man. Thank God for next year, because I can't handle 3-7 New Mexico State. It's not like, hey, you know what? We're in the Mountain West, we know, but hey, we're 8-2, and so we have a decent team this year, or we're even above 500. So Tennessee can go, hey, you know what? No, they're 3-7. I don't think New Mexico State has been above 500 for multiple years. So they knew they were bad coming into this. I hate that the SEC has been allowed to just chalk up wins in week 11 of this college football season, year after year after year. And they're doing it next week too, which thank God you want to have me on the show to talk about.
Oh, you're out next week too?
No, like for the preview.
I got you.
Hey, I'll rant in the review next week. Don't worry.
That's fine. And I because I'm not going to touch on it very much. Let's get to this one because I'm so done with you in these freaking non-Power 5 teams. USF 41-38 losers to Navy. Whatever, dude.
They did it. They did the thing I said not to do. They took Navy lightly, and then they couldn't stop them. That's exactly what you can't do to a Navy team is go down, because they're going to make your life miserable, and then they've got your number because now you're trying to dive and make plays against Navy and try to get them in the backfield, and then they just run it the other way and they completely get you off balance. It's what USF wasn't supposed to do, and they did. But you know what, Ken? You know who opens the door for? A team who is just 3-4 years ago entered the FBS. James Madison still got one loss, is now the leading representative in the group of 5. If they put Tulane in for, if they don't put Tulane in for some reason,
we're gonna find out in an hour.
That's an amazing story, because you come from dominating the FCS, jumping up, having to basically file a lawsuit and an injunction to play a bowl game because of an arbitrary rule where you have to wait 3 years before you can get into a bowl game, even though I think they ran the table.
They did.
And now are going to make the CFP just 4 years later. It's absolutely awesome.
UCF, go away. I'm done. Listen, I did this with Memphis. We did this with who was the other bum after Memphis?
Tulane.
South Florida. Now we do it with USF. I'm sorry. Whoever.
Tulane, not USF.
Yeah, Tulane. Go away. All of you go away. James Madison would be an amazing story. Give me North Texas. Give me this quarterback. I want to see this kid light up the college football player for a game. Whatever. Navy has a path now too. South Florida made it close. They were coming back, and Navy answered. And that's a shout out to Navy. We root for our academy teams. Go away, UCF. Last but certainly not least, is something is tearing up my eye, as you see. Poor bros, Cincinnati Bearcats. 30-24 losers to Arizona. You started to come back, and then Arizona was just able to land enough punches in the second half, or late in that fourth, I should say, to hold you off. Drew, you all right, man?
Yeah. There's two parts of my brain on this. One, it's the obviously pessimistic side, where this game felt very much like a lot of last season's games, where a lot of close games and a lot of trying to have to come back after having the lead and then not being able to get the offense going, and the defense, while good, just wasn't good enough. And then now Scott Satterfield in the second half of the season is now 3-15, which is not great. If you are the head coach of a football team where you start off good and then absolutely fumble in the second half of the season. So that's the bad side. However, the good side for me is that you went up against I want to say top quarter, maybe top third of a Big 12 team. You played them to the death. You were miles above what you were last year, and even miles more above than you were the year before. While obviously this puts us completely out of the Big 12 championship, completely out of the CFP, there is tangible growth year to year in the Scott Satterfield system. And whether that is solely dependent on Brendan Sorsby, and if he leaves, maybe it goes back down potentially. Regardless of that, I think you're now starting to see that Scott Satterfield's vision and system, when he gets guys that fit his system, can do really, really well in a Power 5 conference. And I think that's something that, while these results do hurt because you had these expectations going into this game, these weren't the expectations coming into this season. And I know this sounds like I'm just tossing up,
No, but
I'm throwing the white flag. You have to, when you get a loss like this, obviously in the moment you have your critiques, but you have to take a step back and look at the big picture.
When we personally had our conversation about what you had in mind for Cincinnati this year, you just wanted to try and compete and be in the middle of the pack in the Big 12.
I wanted a bowl game. I wanted to have a bowl game.
You were basically up until week 12, week 13, and somewhat still are in contention for the Big 12. Like, you're not completely out of this thing. This thing is a whole ass mess. You all have multiple losses. You're all going to continue to lose because a bunch of you still all play each other. You're not out of this thing. To say that for your team this year, yeah, that is a massive improvement. However, two things, and I hate to do this to you. 3-15 in the second half of the year isn't just a red flag, it's a red billboard. Okay? It is a red building in the middle of your field. Okay? That's scary, because that is either the coaching is wearing out, you're running guys into the ground, or you're not recruiting depth enough to actually survive the year. None of those things are good. The second is, I don't know, bro. I know you've got some big games ahead still. I just have now seen enough to know that I'm just not sure if you're ready for that step into the top third, that final third of the Big 12. I firmly believe you are cemented right there in the middle, though.
I agree. And I think the biggest question going into next season is, when Brendan Sorsby inevitably declares for the draft, because he will, when Dante Corleone declares for the draft, when Tawi Walker probably declares for the draft. I'm not sure where Evan Pryor is in terms of eligibility, but I think he has a year before he can go into the draft. When you lose all of these big pieces, are you able to A, restock them, and B, are you able to get the same product and the same I don't think of the word, but are you able to replicate the growth that you were seeing in these years and continue to be at minimum the top half of the Big 12? Or is this just a blip because everything kind of came together and bought into the system? That's the big question, I think.
And the problem is, for a team like Cincinnati, and it's all love. You know that. We all here with the Bearcats.
Oh, listen, we're little brother in our own state, and that is a problem.
The problem is, you don't turn over the 5 stars and the 4 stars year to year like Notre Dame, Ohio State, Georgia, Alabama, Texas A&M. Go through the list. So when you have these years, they have to hit. They have to hit. What you hit the year I will hear about for the rest of my damn life until I can't hear no more, and then you'll do it in sign language or write it on a chalkboard. You hit. Desmond Ridder, Sauce Gardner, the win at Notre Dame, the run to the playoffs. You hit. It was there. Yes, you didn't win it all, but that's fairy tale almost. That doesn't happen in college football. But you hit it. You had a successful year, one to talk about forever. This was kind of coming together to kind of be that once it got rolling. Not that it's over, but now are you going to take that dip again to try to have to?
So, and last point, we can move on. The one thing that I think separates a coach, and I know I rag on him all the time. He was able to recruit very well for what he did, And the issue with that sometimes is that even though you can recruit well, sometimes guys just don't pan out, right? And that's what happened in the back half of his tenure there, in Fickell's tenure there. The thing that I think Satterfield is doing very well is, yes, he's a little lower in terms of recruiting, and I think that's just because Cincinnati has not been good enough to get those recruits yet. He has been able to hit very, very well in the transfer portal. Brendan Sorsby, Tawi Walker from Wisconsin, Joe Royer, a tight end from Ohio State that we got. Some of those guys that either in a coaching change or just because a massive team like Ohio State has too much depth is able to kind of lure these guys into the program and say, hey, listen, it's not working out for you in here. We're growing, we're building. Come here, get the big minutes. We have the ability to make you really, really good. And if he can continue to do that, I think he'll continue to be successful.
Fair point. And I believe you, and I trust in you. I'm going to give you what you gave me. We're going to move on.
Absolutely.
Real quick, this has become my favorite thing to do. We're going to hit this, and then we're going to take a break. We'll come back from the break, and we'll hit Drew's quarterbacks, and we'll touch on what was Big Bros, Big Bets. We may be scrapping that, but we'll talk about that in a minute. And that is to update which teams lost in the college football playoff. I like doing this. This is fun. UC, South Florida, go the hell away. Texas, go the hell away. We will see in about 45 minutes where Alabama slides. I want to be done with the show before the rankings start this tonight, rather than start to get them spoiled on the show. So that's going to be on me and Bro to get through. But so yes, those are who lost. We will see where Alabama will fall. Drew, I'm hungry. I'm always hungry, but I just don't want anything. I want some baked goods. Where do I get some good baked goods from? Let's talk about it.
Ken Straub here for Schmoopy Sweets and Treats, the official bakery of the Straub Bros Sports Show. And I'm also here with...
Stella.
And...
My name's Straub.
And boys, do we have a lot to tell everyone about today. Schmoopy's is your go-to for all your bakery needs. Gluten and dairy-free options for muffins, cheesecakes, rolls, breads, cupcakes, cake pops, pies, cakes, you name it, it's there. And boys, what do we think?
Oh, I love it.
I love it.
Me too, boys. So, if you need anything, especially in this fall time, make sure you get in your orders for pies and pumpkin rolls and cinnamon rolls. Place your order now at...
Smoopies. Sweets and treats.
All right. Back here on the Straub Bros Sports Show. And as always, I like to do it this way because it's his thing. So we'll let him set it up how he wants to. Drew will flip a coin, call it in the air. It's tails. You win. You want to go first or second?
Always first.
All right. So let's throw it to the hardest working man, second hardest working man, but the smartest guy I know when it comes to breaking down the quarterbacks. Drew, give me your quarterback watch list.
Yes. This honestly, interesting week this week. Very interesting stuff. Always. First, Roman Gagliano from Middle Tennessee, 389 passing yards and 2 touchdowns. Very good game out of him. Ashton Daniels out of Auburn, 371 passing yards and a touchdown. Very well done there. I will say, in terms of passing yards this week, a little bit lower than most weeks. A lot of times we have 1 or 2 400s and everything like that. I did have to dig deep, but I think we had some really good performances. Dylan Lonergan from Boston College. I know that they did lose, but he played a great game after a bad season, so I wanted to give him some love. 362 passing yards and 2 touchdowns. Jacob Clark from Missouri State, 330 passing yards and 4 touchdowns. He went out injured, and so to put up these stats and then get injured, fantastic. Means he could have had more. Awesome from him. Honestly, Ken, I know we have a lot of good names. This one's just great. Fun.
Yes.
Carlos Del Rio Wilson from Marshall, 321 passing yards and 3 touchdowns. And Ken, even more surprising than his name, we have a quarterback from Kent State on a quarterback list.
Let's go.
Amazing. Drew DeShields, 317 passing yards and 5 touchdowns to beat Akron. Well done there. And finally, Fernando Mendoza taking care of business, 299 passing yards and 4 touchdowns. And not a crazy week for the quarterbacks, but some very good performances here.
First of all, just wow. We got a 1-9 quarterback from Boston College, Middle Tennessee, Love to Auburn, a Missouri State, Marshall, Kent State, and who some people consider the leading Heisman candidate. My man digs deep with this stuff. This is why you are the best in the business. But I'm going to put you back on the spot. I made a post yesterday. I tagged you in it. So you kind of know what's coming. But according to USA Today, Aaron Reed, he put out his top 10 Heisman Trophy finalists as of right now. Number 10, Casey Concepcion of Texas A&M. Number 9, Jeremiah Smith of Ohio State. Number 8, Arch Manning of Texas. Number 7, Ty Simpson of Alabama. Number 6, Diego Pavia of Vanderbilt. Number 5, Trinidad James Chambliss of Ole Miss. Number 4, Oregon's Dante Moore. Number 3, Georgia Tech Haynes King. Number 2, Indiana's Fernando Mendoza. And number 1, Texas A&M's Marcel Reed. First of all, Arch Manning being on this list is an atrocity.
Correct.
But secondly, do you agree with the top 3? Marcel Reed
No.
of Texas A&M, Fernando Mendoza of Indiana, and Haynes King of Georgia Tech. I don't see Jeremiah Love on this list or CJ Carr, so it's absolutely fraudulent.
The only one I'll give him
Hey, shout out
is
to Mama
Fernando
Chick, really
Mendoza. Because I think Fernando Mendoza, he leads the league in touchdowns. He's having an amazing season. However, I think there are people that I would say are more important to their team, or not because that's MVP. They are having a better year than a Marcel Reed or a Haynes King. First off, while his defense is letting him down, Sawyer Robinson is having an amazing year. Second in touchdowns, first in yards by like 150 yards, a full game.
What's going on, Greg?
And he's single-handedly keeping Baylor in half these games. If Baylor didn't have Sawyer Robinson, they had an average quarterback. This Baylor team may have 3 wins all year. So I'm going to give credit to Sawyer Robinson there. The second person, and I have to be very, very upset when I say this. Well, first, I'm going to be happy. Someone who's getting no love whatsoever, and we've talked about him so many times on the show, UConn quarterback Joe Fagnano is amazing.
Let's go.
However, very sadly, this past week, he threw his first interception against Air Force.
I know.
25-0 up until that point, which is absolutely crazy because if 25 touchdowns, by the way, is tied for third most touchdowns, passing touchdowns in the league right now. And then if we go on yards, he's 6th. So what I'm saying is, yes, these guys are playing in big-time games and playing relatively well. However, I think you have to look at the whole picture in terms of these guys are killing it. These guys are absolutely having amazing seasons. And to not even have them in your top 10, I think is disrespectful to them because they're having amazing seasons. You can put them wherever you want. And I can even say Marcel Reed would be in a top 10 just because he's playing at a level that's making sure his team wins these games. But if we're talking about being the best college athlete this year, I don't think that Marcel Reed should be up there.
I could not have envisioned when I teed this up for you yesterday that you would come through like this. I'm gonna just put that out there, but my man came through big time. I might let you slide for skipping out on me Thursday. You keep coming through like that. I agree. Not having a couple of those guys on there is just basically I got to find somebody in the top 5 to give some rankings to. And here, I will say this, okay? Let me grab that one again. Oh, let me not grab that one again because Facebook decided to not open that back up. Ohio State quarterback,
Julian Sayin.
yeah, Julian Sayin deserves to be higher on that list.
Absolutely.
That's all I'm gonna throw out there.
He has more touchdowns and less interceptions than Marcel Reed, by the way, and more passing yards. So that in itself should give him more than enough credit to get up there.
Absolutely. Also Trinidad Chambliss should be higher in my book, and yeah, and Arch Manning shouldn't be on the list. All right, let's keep it moving. It's time for Big Bros Big Bets. We had a tough week. Okay. I'm gonna just be honest. I had a rough week, and I put a bunch of these together very late. Literally, some of which were done before the show, about 5 minutes before, and it cost me. And I apologize, and I own that, and I take that, and I will do better. That is my promise to the Straub Bros Sports Show Nation, because these did not do very well. Louisville -2.5 over Clemson. What the hell? No, thank you. Wisconsin plus 29.5 versus Indiana. Hey, I got a win there. I get that one. Notre Dame versus Pitt over 53.5. Listen, that was all me just wanting to put as many points on Pitt as I possibly could. So that's on my bad. That was a homer pick. We don't put our teams in the locks for a reason. Oklahoma versus Alabama 45.5. We were close. We were really, really damn close. So that one, Ole Miss -14.5 versus Florida. Struggle bus. Yeah, Florida. And then BYU -3.5 over TCU. I told you that was the lock, and it locked. We're gonna get to Greg's comment in a second. Because we do have some coaching stuff to talk about, but I told you BYU minus. I told you that was the lock of the week.
Also, shout out to Virginia for absolutely saying, "Oh, you're gonna make us the underdogs while we're ranked." Good. How about we drop a double-digit win on those?
100%. Our ups. So that does bring us to 500, 41-31. We're gonna kill it this week, though. I promise you that. I'm gonna be riding solo. I got this ready. I'm gonna tap in with my guru too. He's gonna see. We're gonna get clear in the mind of our degeneracy and get it rolling. Our upsets. We're up to 25 now. Boise State, Arizona. Sorry, Brody. No, thank you, Air Force. No, thank you, Virginia Tech. South Carolina, we were so damn close to the big one there. But then shout out to Navy, plus 340. Yes, Navy coming through for us. Like I said, we have tough weeks, but we'll be back. But Drew, let's talk about it. Greg threw it up. Let's hit it on the head. Virginia Tech has hired former Penn State coach James Franklin. Drew, I heard it here first weeks ago when you said specifically Georgia Tech should hire James Franklin. They did it. They listened to us.
Yeah, and I think when you look at this Virginia Tech team, I think this Virginia Tech team has been very, very underrepresented, I should say, because while, yes, the play on the field, especially in the past couple of years, has been very, very down. And I attribute that to just not getting enough recruits, coaching not really been there. That organization and that fan base deserves a good team. Mm-hmm. That is one of the best atmospheres in all of college football. And when they're good, It is unlike anything. It's unlike most college football stadiums. Absolutely fantastic. But like we said, they haven't had the team to back that up. You bring in a guy like James Franklin, who basically that's the same area as Penn State. It's the same region. So he has all of his connections. I guarantee you half of these guys that were in at Penn State are going to transfer over to Virginia Tech. And now Virginia Tech has a coach that, one, knows how to make the CFP,
Yes.
knows how to maybe not win, but stick with the big dogs in not just the Big Ten, but of all of college football, and is now going into a conference where you have a struggling Clemson, you have a up and down SMU,
And
and
up
you
and
have a
down
Miami team that, while is good, is very, very easy to go ahead of late in the season. I think for Virginia Tech, that is an absolutely home run hire. And I think for James Franklin, this is one of the smartest moves he could have made, because now you might not even need a full good season out of him. They're going to throw money at you, and you have a much clearer path to a CFP than you did at Penn State. And I think exactly. And I think it's one of the rare ones where even before a game is played, this is a win-win for both the school and the coach.
Sometimes it's just a vibe and it works. Excuse me. He is going to run the ACC.
I think it's going to be him in Miami, and then I think when Clemson gets up, I think it'll be that. But I think, before you had obviously always Ohio State, you had Oregon most times. Michigan was good once or twice every 3 years, and then there was Penn State. Now it's maybe Miami, every year.
Oh, yeah. And yes, we are absolutely, we in the chat, in the stream. Shout out to Daniel DeMann, our leader and our owner at the Falls Rapids. Yes, exactly what you said. We have to remember when we do these hires, you can take what he did at his last job, but you also have to put it in perspective. Yes, James Franklin couldn't win the big games at Penn State, although he did get them in the college football playoffs and he did win a game. So let's okay.
Absolutely.
That type of winning that he brought to Penn State at Virginia Tech has Virginia Tech in the college football playoffs every year almost.
Yes.
The thing that has made college football actually more wide open, remember my preseason predictions, one of the ones that is for sure coming true is that I said there's parity now. Death to the Blue Bloods. It's not just going to be those teams with a chance. NIL opens up the playing field. Look at the Vanderbilts and look at some of these other teams that are starting to come along. But that ability to have a guaranteed spot in the college football playoff, if you win your conference, is going to make a kid go, yeah, I'll leave Penn State for Virginia Tech because I go from the 5th best team in the Big Ten to the best team in the ACC, or the 2nd best team in the ACC. Virginia Tech is a hotbed for good football. It's a good program there. They deserve a winner. Enter Sandman at night under the lights when Virginia Tech is good. That's as good as it gets in college football, baby. Okay? So you take that mixed in with the fact that, yes, James Franklin is a damn good coach. Maybe he's not top 3 in college football, but we can't all have those guys. Okay? There's only one Marcus Freeman. Sorry, y'all can't have him. This is a great hire. This is a great pickup. This is a great decision by him. Virginia Tech will be back within 2 years, period. Spoiler alert, that'll probably be the team next year.
And the issue is,
and this too.
I'm hitting on that.
Okay.
It gets worse day by day when Penn State does not have a head coach that they're hiring, because you see it in the news. Indiana doesn't. Their head coach doesn't want to go there. Freeman isn't going to go there. I think the latest one that we saw, honestly, is if Alabama gets rid of DeBoer, is that DeBoer is going to go there. The more and more that this drags out, where Penn State doesn't even have a guy, maybe not even coaching, but doesn't have a guy pen to paper, he's going there. The more these recruits are going, I don't want to go for a head coach that was the 4th, 5th, 6th choice. I'm going to go to where my head coach was, where he was the top choice, and he's the guy still. And it looks worse and worse for Penn State. And I think it gets better and better for Virginia Tech, because the more this drags out, like he said, like Gregory said, the more those recruits are going to come flooding in, and those transfers are going to come flooding in to be with that program. And then at that point, James Franklin is going to be able to say, I wanted you, I wanted you, I wanted you. I tried you, you didn't work, I'm good. And he gets a clean slate now. And that's going to be really good for him.
Listen, I don't know how this tampering stuff works and how the rules are, but here's what is real life. While guys are sitting in that Penn State locker room going, you know who's getting hired? No. Do you know who's getting hired? No. Do you know who's getting hired? No. Do you know who's getting hired? James Franklin, like, hey guys, we're going to upgrade the facilities this year. Hey guys, I got playing time for you. Hey guys, all those promises that I made you, I can keep them over here. Yeah. So, all right. The other one is a rumor. I know we don't like to talk about, rumor.
Not even a rumor. It was they're making a go on.
Florida, the University of Florida is approaching Lane Kiffin's people about Lane Kiffin potentially taking the job at Florida. But before we get to that, while you're doing some stuff, Daniel brings up a good point. They want him, but people to dislike Franklin. You have a coach that players would kill for. It's hard. Exactly. The one thing that I will never see, here's the thing. When we make fun of Brian Kelly on this show, it's because he's watched it and I watched it and we've seen it at LSU. His players don't like him. Guys don't like Brian Kelly. I've never heard that about James Franklin. Okay.
Absolutely. And I think
he just couldn't win a national championship at a place that if you've got a good team to a great team, which those Penn State teams were great. Let's not be haters. Not everybody wins it all, but those were great Penn State teams. If you're not winning it all there, they're going to fire you.
Absolutely.
Okay? Period. So that doesn't mean he's not a good coach. He just couldn't get it done there. And that's not an easy place to win, okay? Regardless of the top recruiting classes, he couldn't get a quarterback. It didn't always work out. Virginia Tech's a whole new ballgame. I'm seriously.
No, absolutely. I'm betting on let's say you have LSU and Penn State I think are pretty, or LSU during Brian Kelly and then Penn State during Franklin, I think are pretty comparable. If they go up against each other, 9 times out of 10, I'm picking James Franklin because I'm picking the team that the coach of the players want to play for. And so that's exactly what that is. But let's go on to the Ole Miss one, and I can kind of go into that.
The last point, he couldn't win Big Ten games. That's really hard. And if he was held to the same standard, Ryan Day would have been fired too for losing those games to Michigan. He just happened to also have the most ridiculous talent pool and NIL pool in the world and had the most talented team. But yes, Florida, the University of Florida is trying to get Lane Kiffin as their coach.
And so obviously Lane Kiffin has...
And I'm going to bring Daniel's point into this with this one.
Lane Kiffin has denied this, but it's gotten so big of a rumor that there's been reports that Ole Miss has given Lane Kiffin a deadline to decide his future here. Because, and listen, I think it's very smart by Ole Miss because I think this is a program that I think is finally starting to make some headway in the SEC and is finally starting to get those massive recruits and stealing them away from Alabama, from Georgia, from LSU. And so I think if you're Ole Miss, you have to say, hey, we need this lockdown right now because we can't wait for you at the end to then all of a sudden go to Florida and take all your recruits away. We need to know this now. And I think, personally, I think Lane Kiffin should stay at Ole Miss. I think you, at least for the time being, because I think you have everything you could ever want right now in a thing. You have full backing of the board. You have, honestly, to pick at any recruit you want. And you are not having to restart at a Florida team in the middle of, honestly, personally, a wide open SEC. Because personally, right now, obviously, A&M is looking amazing, but we just saw that they can be beaten. Alabama is having multiple years now where they're not looking at their best. Georgia, while good, has shown multiple times they can't go that far in the CFP. And then there's Ole Miss. And so if you're telling me that you would rather go to Florida, take 2 years to build it up how it was at Ole Miss, and potentially give Alabama, Georgia, some other teams, LSU, time to catch up and get as good as you, rather than staying at Ole Miss when you are this close to contending for a national championship. I just think it's a mistake to go right now. Because I think, honestly, you're going to get these same offers 2-3 years down the line, but maybe you have a natty to back with it.
I 150,000% disagree with you. First of all, there are levels in this college football game. Now, while I understand that we just talked about, hey, the NIL and the route to the college football playoff has opened it up where everybody can be a contender, there's still levels, man. And I hate to throw you in on this, but the reason you lost Brian Kelly and the reason you lost Luke Fickell was because hold on.
I'm not going to hate on myself. I don't like the comparison of us to something else, to Ole Miss to Florida.
Hold on.
That's just me.
Hold on. Sometimes there's stepping stones, and sometimes there's, oh wow, that's a different level. I'm allowed to use myself here. Coming to coach at Notre Dame carries a different kind of cachet than it does coaching somewhere else. There's only a few other programs that you can say, when I coach there, it means a lot more. Notre Dame, Ohio State, Alabama, and Florida is one of them. I know they have been down, but Florida carries that from the Urban Meyer days all the way back to the Spurrier days. Something about Florida has always been different. It's college football. I don't get to make these rules. I just love that I'm a part of it. We talk about it all the time. Gold helmets, touching rocks, enter Sandman. Love Virginia Tech. And that there's a level below. To me, Florida is one of the few programs that if they come and call you, you listen. I said this about Dabo Swinney when Alabama was looking for a coach. Dude, you better go. You better go there because Alabama's different. No matter where you can get Clemson, they'll never be Alabama. No matter where you can get Ole Miss, they'll never be Florida. You can get a bunch of recruits, but you got guys who grow up with gators on their walls because that's been passed down through their family. That don't run as deep as it does for Ole Miss. No disrespect to the Ole Miss fan base. Just the same way as there are Notre Dame fans on every walk of the earth, there's Alabama. Some of those programs carry a different amount of weight. And for me, Florida carries that amount of weight. Ole Miss, you have one of the young, hot, great coaches in all of college football. He was never staying there forever. He was always going to go somewhere much bigger and that has a much more cachet to it. Cash in on this run, let him do what he wants, and then go get you another coach. Because what you risk if you're Ole Miss is you put this deadline on Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin goes, fine, I'm going to Florida. And then you don't have a good coach for the college football playoffs. You blow this run, and then next year, you're back to being what Ole Miss used to be.
I understand what you mean. However, in the recent past, and I'm going to put like 2010 onward, we have seen numerous head coaches leave a quote-unquote smaller school in terms of building something and go on to bigger programs where they have struggled and ultimately maybe not lost their job, but are definitely on the hot seat. Kellen DeBoer, Washington, back-to-back amazing seasons, leaves for Alabama, is now not struggling, but it's definitely, in my opinion, crumbling under the weight of expectations at Alabama. You have Lincoln Riley, who built a dominant force in Oklahoma, now struggling to be middle of the pack in the Big Ten. You have, Brian Kelly, who, while not amazing at Notre Dame and was there a while, built a very stable program that was making it a contender every year. Left, went to LSU, is now fired. I hate bringing up my team. Luke Fickell, CFP performance, winner every year, going into a bigger conference to compete, leaves for Wisconsin, struggling in the bottom dregs of the Big Ten. My only issue is when you are building these teams to curate behind this, I understand the money, the fame, the attention you're going to get, and the resources you're going to get at a higher program. But why leave what you have built at its peak for something that you again have to rebuild and may not get up to that height again, like you did with that you're currently doing with your team?
Because sometimes, no matter how good or how great I can build something in a swamp, that nice piece of land over here that's already ready to go in a great area, and I can build a mansion on, it's sometimes better.
You know what mansions do in swamps?
Hold
They
on.
sink.
Well, that's why I said you get out of the swamp. I can build a great one over here in the swamp, but it can only be so great. This one over here in this great piece of land that just needs developed, then can turn into Disney World rather than Geauga Lake. Geauga Lake's fun. I want Disney World.
Also, let's not diss on Ole Miss, by the way. Ole Miss has a storied SEC team.
I understand, but not a great one. This is also, first of all, let's get to the important point. Yes, of course. Secondly, I want to bring Daniel's point back. Hot take. Not winning a championship shouldn't be the measure of success. I prefer how many of the players did I get to the NFL bar personally.
Absolutely.
Long term, the end of their career, yes. And I agree with this to a point, which is why when my resume's done, if I don't have the ring, I got two other things I can put on there. How many guys I went to the NFL or went to the NFL under my tutelage, and how many did I get to one of those historic programs? Lane Kiffin has a chance to get to one of those historic programs, number one. And number two, will have just as good of a chance, if not better, to do it at Florida. Florida has a top recruiting class every year. Lane's going to make it better. That's scary to the rest of us.
Listen, and I think we said this with the NIL now and the transfer portal. Listen, man, any team that has a boosting, I think, is on a more even playing field with these quote unquote blue bloods, because it's not about, oh man, it's Florida or Ole Miss. Well, I'm gonna get more views and get more looks at Florida because it's Florida. Now it's, well, Florida and Ole Miss are calling. Ole Miss is going to give me a starting spot, and I'm going to be on TV every week and social media every week regardless. So as long as I look good, I'm going to be fine. I think there's a much more even scale here than the brand of Florida over the brand of Texas, because you don't need the brand anymore. You as an athlete, you are the brand.
We'll agree to disagree. And that's okay. That's what makes this one great. We could, this is a topic we can set aside and come back to, and have some fun with. We also are an hour and a half in the show, and we're not done talking college. So let's cut it off here and come back to this.
We just got football left.
Hey, I know, but you're getting all your points in for 2 days, worth in 1 day. That's all right though. Anything else? Do you have anything else? I know. Yeah, of course. Andrew does have a good point. Hey,
if you're gonna put yours up, I'm putting mine up.
I'm just, sometimes you leave the swamp for the mansion. I'm just, no matter
sometimes
First
Mansion
of
gets
all,
repossessed because you can't pay for it.
most importantly, Sterling, what's going on, my guy? Tapping in with us as always. We appreciate that. Greg, everybody who's been with us. Nate, Oos is on the side calling me because Kobe just can't stop saying hello through the phone. Hi, Kobe. Hi, Kobe. I'll talk to you in like 2 hours. Let's keep it rolling. Let's get to the professional side of this because it was just so awesome. All these amazing games that we had.
So yeah, we're gonna make up the time because these games suck.
Oh my God, I'm so tired of talking about the NFL. If it didn't do the ratings that it did, and if it wasn't about to make our comment section explode, I wouldn't even talk about this shit sometimes. Sorry, Mom. I didn't mean to cuss, but hey. We started Thursday, New England 27-14 over the Jets. Sure.
They took care of business.
Exactly. The Dolphins 16-13 winners over Washington. That game sucked. I was up early watching it.
It was bad.
It was horrible. Stop putting these games in Europe. They don't have the stadiums for this, and they don't have the weather. So we've been to England twice, Germany, and now Spain. This does nothing but screw up my parlays and my fantasy. Stop putting these games in Europe. The Green Bay 27-20 over the Giants. Sure.
It says more. Honestly, it says more about Green Bay playing down than the Giants playing up because you almost lost to Jameis Winston.
What you sent me the Jameis Winston tweet? I went all in with a parlay on the Giants. I'm so mad at you.
He almost had it until he threw a pick in the end zone.
Yeah, until he Jameis Winston. The Texans squeak out a 16-13 victory over the Titans.
It's not great.
So much for that Davis Mills stuff, huh? The
He got me points. He got me points. I don't care.
There we go. Carolina 30-27 winners over the Falcons. The bigger news coming out of that game. Michael Penix Jr. done for the year. They are looking at his ACL to determine what type of damage has been done for a guy that has had both knees reconstructed, multiple surgeries on both knees. That is not good.
No. However, I think ultimately it's good that he's doing this now. He'll be able to work through this and as soon as he can into the offseason. This was kind of a lost season for the Falcons anyways, where you saw they were better than previous years, but just not there yet. And so get him through this, let him get the surgery, let him recover, and let this team get built in the offseason around him to make him a better quarterback. But also, do we have to start talking about Carolina? Do we have to start talking about Carolina? Because listen,
yes,
I'm pulling up the
because the
right
NFL
now.
Because the NFL sucks so bad. Yes, we have to talk about Carolina.
I don't even think it's because they're quote unquote bad. Listen, they're not in a wild card spot, but they're close. But they're real close. Because listen, if we're looking at teams that have a almost same record as them, Detroit, San Francisco, and Green Bay, and Tampa. And one of those is in their conference. And so I'm not saying this Carolina team is good again, but I think they've greatly exceeded their expectations. And I think that's a really good sign for them.
The only love I'll give this is even at the beginning of the year, we were high on some of their fantasy guys. They brought in a guy who has worked well with some of these quarterbacks. It was due to somewhat turn around. This thing with not just Bryce Young, with this team, they just have these just such roller coaster peaks that you can't get a grasp of how good they are. But at this point, yeah, we have to take them serious. I don't think the problem for me though is there's a couple good teams in the NFL, and when we get to the playoffs, those teams are all going to be in the conference championship games because no one else is even close to being as good. The rest of these teams are in the playoffs, but they're not going to win anything.
I think you're right. And while they have had some surprising wins, beating the Packers, beating you, demolishing the Falcons the first time, the issue is they're getting to the hard part of their schedule. They're playing the 49ers next week. They're playing the Rams the week after. They still play the Bucs twice. They'll probably not make the playoffs. However, they're winning the games that maybe in the beginning of the year we'd say, they're probably going to lose, or it's a close one. And so that's, I think, progress for them.
Are we surpassing?
Sorry, I was turning on YouTube TV to get the rankings ready. No, I can't wait. No, I agree.
Just
They're
mute
gonna
the TV before you hit on YouTube TV, man. God.
It was on my phone. I thought the volume was down. I'm sorry. Yeah, they're gonna come back down to earth, but we'll see. Speaking of a team that refuses to come back down to earth,
Let's
my
go.
Chicago Bears, 19 to
Your
17.
Chicago Bears.
Listen, everybody's my team when I like their quarterback. 19 to 17 winners over the Minnesota Vikings. Haha. Caleb Williams, keep on winning.
First in the NFC North. When was the last time this late in the season you can say that about a Chicago Bears team?
Was that the year they made the Super Bowl? Like,
Yes.
wow. Hey,
And
when do I do this?
I'll say this. I'll say the same thing about this Bears team I said about the Panthers. They haven't really beaten anybody that I would consider a good win. They listen, their wins are the Raiders, the Commanders, the Saints, the Bengals, the Giants, and the Vikings. So, yes, there is a lot. Listen, they still play. They lost to the Lions. They still play them again. They play the 49ers. They play the Packers twice. They play the Eagles. There's a lot of room for them to completely fall back down to earth and wind up third or fourth in this division. But unlike the Panthers,
Thank you.
I can't say that there isn't a shot there.
Number one,
because there is very much there's been contention in all of those losses.
I can't look at Carolina and get a grasp on what they are. I can get a look at Chicago and grasp that this is good. This can be a good football team.
Can be. That's the big thing.
A lot of you Caleb Williams haters are going to be eating it. And yes, all they needed was a coach, and I think they got one. So, yes, the same thing. They may come back down to earth like Carolina, but I'm not going to go into the offseason going, man, what is this? What is this Chicago team? No, it's young team ready to go. So
I was going to say where Carolina has to nail the draft for me to take them seriously. Chicago just has to pick up pieces, and I will say, okay, let's ride.
Absolutely. And with teams in that division that are up and down and a mid quarterback, we'll see. I got you. I'm sorry. Jacksonville.
This next result.
Oh, Jacksonville, 35-6 winners over the Chargers. Like I said, I don't know who the Chargers are. I don't know if Justin Herbert is good. I don't know if Trevor Lawrence is good.
The Jaguars are.
I don't either. Sure, Jacksonville. I don't care. You're
6-4.
Yeah, I don't care.
I'm just saying it's one of those things where I don't think we've seen a parody like this in the middle of this in the NFL in so long. Because I think you have your New Englands, you have your Broncos. I think your Colts are on the edge there in the AFC. But then if you look at everybody else, Buffalo, Pittsburgh, Baltimore, Jacksonville, Houston, the Chargers, the Kansas City Chiefs now finally, all of them are in this kind of window where anyone can win or lose to anyone.
I agree. Speaking of winning or losing to anyone, the Bills are back. This one hurt.
Yes.
Josh Allen back to some MVP form, 44-32 over Baker. Baker touchdown maker in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The MVP train for Baker we're gone. We're back down to earth. Okay.
Unfortunately.
Josh Allen and the Bills keeping the pressure on New England, letting the rest of the NFL know, hey, whoa, we still here.
I agree. The issue is we've known for this whole season that the Tampa Bay defense is not great. And so the issue is when Buffalo comes up against a tougher defense, they tend to really struggle. And so I think Buffalo can outscore they can outscore a team that has a bad defense, but can they beat a team that has a good defense? That's the real question for them. Doesn't seem to be it doesn't seem to have the spark it has in previous seasons where no matter the defense, they were putting up points.
I want to see these two teams later on when it matters. Not necessarily not against each other, but
but agree
against those other teams. This mid-ass game with this mid-ass team. Steelers 34-12 winners over the Bengals. This was an awful game to watch as well. Realistically, the most important news, Aaron Rodgers, a broken bone in the wrist, hand area. Mason Rudolph takes over as quarterback. I don't know what the time frame is for Rodgers. I don't know if that's season or not, but not good.
They have it's luckily it's his non-throwing hand, so it'll probably be a quicker return as if it was his throwing hand. But they have not given a timetable for a return. He's expected to be out at least a week. He did try to get back in the game, but the training staffs did not let him come in. However, yeah, this is not great because you did not build up enough of a gap to maybe drop a game or two because unfortunately, due to my amazing team's mess up, Baltimore is one game back of Pittsburgh. And so a loss could potentially mean losing your top spot in the AFC North. And so while Mason Rudolph did look good in his kind of game back, it was against a very, very bad Bengals defense. And you're going to go up against the Bears defense that has very much improved next week. And so that's going to be the true test to see, can they continue to win without Aaron Rodgers?
The thing for me is, and this is what I can't believe I'm about to say this because as much as I do love Aaron Rodgers, Mason Rudolph at least has a younger arm and he can throw that thing down the field. He can open up the playbook a little bit. And this offense has playmakers that they can get the ball to. They don't have a quarterback who's been able to really throw it. They also don't have a great offensive line. So it also is very nice and easy to come in as the backup when the team's been preparing for Aaron Rodgers all week and not you. But we'll see because this is not good for them going forward. Moving on. San Francisco 41-22 over the Arizona Cardinals. The story out of that game, Jacoby Brissett set an NFL record for completions in a game. I shouldn't say who cares. Congratulations to him, but Arizona, who cares?
I mean, yeah, I will say though, sans the Cardinals, this NFC West is insanely good. All teams, 7 wins or more. I honestly think one of those teams is going to make the Super Bowl. I think it's going to be one of those 3 hot take. You can quote me on it. But specifically with the San Francisco team, they are, in my opinion, the most dangerous team in the NFL right now. Maybe the Patriots, I'll give number 2. But this San Francisco team, down so much, has consistently put up 30 points a game. And now that Mac Jones is coming back, Ricky Pearsall is coming back, George Kittle will be back at some point, I think in December. This is a team that has been able to ride it out because last season they were hitting their stride late. They just couldn't. They lost too much to get back into the playoffs. They should be fine to get in the playoffs now. They're getting everyone back. This team is insanely dangerous.
Listen, I was kind of moving on because I just don't want to talk about the Cardinals. But yeah, San Francisco is not a team that you want getting healthy and on a roll late in the season. We've seen what they can do. They just have to keep the rest of those pieces healthy, aka Christian McCaffrey. We'll move over to the Sunday slate. A good one. LA 21-19 over Seattle. These two teams going to battle it out. Like you said, this very, very, very good division.
Yeah, I think this showed 2 things, and I think it's mostly for Seattle. One, this showed that their defense can win them games, especially in the playoffs when they play a team in another division that probably is limited in terms of offense. Because listen, you take the Ravens defensive coordinator, you're going to have an amazing defense. However, this also showed for Seattle, this is Sam Darnold's ceiling, and we saw it in Minnesota. He plays a really good defense. He is going to struggle mightily. And listen, 3 interceptions. He looked really, really bad, and I think he lost them this game. And so you're going to have great defensive games where you're going to win games solely on your defense, and Sam Darnold's going to play well enough. But you can also have these games where they're going to again play really well, but then Sam Darnold's going to lose you those games because he's not at that level.
Not at that level, and Matthew Stafford is Matthew Stafford. An ugly one, but a surprising one, I would think. Broncos 22-19 winners over the Chiefs. Broncos in the drivers, as much as we talk about Bo Nix, as much as we talk about how bad this offense looks, the defense, I'm going to say it again, the defense is elite and it can carry them when all he has to do is make a couple plays in the end that matter. Bo Nix can be clutch. This Broncos team has to be respected.
No, absolutely. And I think while this and we kind of compare the Seattle team. While the Seattle team has an amazing defensive mind and has to kind of rely on others for the offense to play well, Sean Payton inherited a top 5 defense, made it a top 3 defense, maybe even a top 2, top 1, and it's able to get what he needs out of the offense because he is so experienced. And I think that's the difference between this Broncos team and the Seattle team, where Seattle is going to just be like, okay, Sam, you can try to lead us to this win. This defense helped you. Sean Payton is going to go, Bo, this defense is going to help you out. I'm going to help you out, get you this win. And I think that's the difference here. And also credit to Broncos, because I think it's a team that's made to win, not dominate, but win. But on the other side, Kansas City's 5-5.
Yeah.
They're out of the playoffs right now. And so we'll see what happens. And I think they'll probably inevitably get in. But man, this is really, really close for them. And I think it's just because they're getting figured out.
Not just that, winning close games has a lot to do with luck and is not always a skill that can be replicated. They were damn near undefeated in 1-score games last year. They're 1 and whatever, or they're 0 and whatever in 1-score games this year. It's just sometimes how that ball bounces. And no, teams are also not afraid of Kansas City anymore.
They're also 1-4 on the road, by the way.
Yeah. The Ravens, 23-16 winners over the Cleveland Browns. I have a Washington Commanders level rant to talk about your organization. So you go ahead and go first.
Quickly on this, because I really don't feel like talking about them. One, if this team had a speck of offense, this had all the makings of the snow game in Pittsburgh last year, where we made the other offense make so many mistakes that if our offense was even somewhat competent, they would have won this game. Second quick point. While I agree that, and I want to put it out there for those who don't know, Shedeur Sanders came into the game because of a Dylan Gabriel concussion, and I want to speak on that real quick. One, while I agree that coming in as a backup against a Ravens team as a rookie when not really, practicing much with the first team is very, very hard and very, very difficult, and I will give him all the grace in the world coming next week when he plays Oakland and he has a full prep time. I will give him a full redo. Man, he looked very suspect in that game. And I think that both can be true. Or one, maybe he was set up to fail and he needs to be given he needed to be given more time with the offense, and 2, maybe even a whole coaching scheme. The base level stuff that I saw from him was suspect. And I think that's where I'm kind of iffy on him, but I'm giving him full grace this week.
Yes. Shedeur didn't look good. Let's just get it out of there. Okay. Out of the way. Boom. Let's move it over here. He didn't look good. Pick that up. Move it over. This is one of the most incompetent organizations I've ever heard of in my entire life, because I listened to your damn broadcast. Okay. So here are the things that bothered the absolute hell out of me. Shedeur Sanders has never taken reps with the first team. That's asinine. Okay. 2 reps, whatever it was.
That's not what I was going to get at, but go on.
Go ahead. That's just, that doesn't happen. You let him take some reps, find some practice time. My turn. You stop. My turn. Hold on, please. During the broadcast, actually, I'll go back to that last. After the game, your center came out and said that he had only heard Shedeur's cadence twice ever. Once again, that's incompetence. Your quarterback is on the roster, can play in a game. He needs to have been equipped to be able to play in that game. Lastly, and these aren't my words, these are from a 12-year Pro Bowl veteran in the NFL. During the broadcast, they talked about how Kevin Stefanski had said that during the season, rookie players that don't play have a special Wednesday and Saturday practice for them to play. And sometimes they do extra reps for those players after practices. McCourty, I don't remember which one is in the booth, I apologize because they're twins, said, quote, I played in the NFL for 12 years and I have never heard of that before. That ain't good. The fact that this kid can suck and he cannot be an NFL quarterback. But what you have shown me as an organization since 1999 is that you don't have the ability to develop young talent and you don't have the ability to develop young quarterbacks. That doesn't mean you develop them into all pros and Super Bowl winners. You develop them enough to be able to go into an NFL game and have had reps with the players on the field and have had reps with the center snapping them the ball and haven't had to be in extra practices on their own playing with the other guys who don't play. That doesn't get you anywhere. I coach. I can look into the coaching aspect of this and say that's some of the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my life.
Okay. I'm going to speak on this real quick. And
I apologize for cutting you off when I did.
No, it's okay. The thing, how the issue is, and I shared your sentiment until I started to listen to players in his position, because there were multiple either journeyman quarterbacks or perennial backup quarterbacks that have said and gone on record this week and have said that other than training camp and other than when you're planning on starting in the preseason games, you do not get reps with the first team unless you are a scout offense running against the first team defense. And so if we want to say that what they did in training camp in the preseason is the problem, and that's where he didn't get his reps, I can agree with you. However, coming from perennial backup and journeyman quarterbacks, him getting first team reps as a backup during the regular season just isn't a reality, especially when going into the season he was your third string. And I think that's the bigger, I think, part of it is that it's not that he's not getting reps when he should have. It's that he was not supposed to be coming into this game and was ill-equipped because of what has happened throughout the season. And I think that's where the lack of reps has come from, because he was not supposed to be starting this week. He was not supposed to be even close to it in the weeks leading up to it. And from other quarterbacks who have been in his scenario, he wasn't going to get those reps even if he was the backup. Because I'm sure Dylan Gabriel didn't get him as the backup either.
Then he better not be on this team this year. Cut him. You clearly don't believe in the kid at all. You clearly don't think.
But I don't think it's his talent. I think it's there he is on the depth chart. Because every team does this, apparently. That's what I'm hearing from other quarterbacks, is that every team, when it's your backup quarterback, unless it's training camp or you're starting a preseason game, doesn't get first team reps. That is what I'm hearing.
All right. I hear the 12-year vet go, I've never heard that anymore. My ears perk up.
He's also a cornerback. That's, I think, a difference.
He's still involved in the aspects of the team. He would know listen, hold on. I played in college. I played defense and I played some striker. I moved to striker in college. I still would know if my defenders were sticking around after practice for extra workouts.
Sure. And I also think that's the extra workout part, I think, is also a testament to this team is so young that they need those extra reps just to get up to the level. regardless if it's a good or a bad thing, I think I could go either way on. I'm just talking about Shedeur with the first team reps. That's what I was kind of getting at.
I'm with that. Let's move on. Eagles 16-9 winners over the Lions. Every time somebody plays the Eagles, it's the ugliest, stupidest game you've ever seen in your life.
I hate it. And like that's the thing. It's like good job they're winning, and that's good for the Eagles. Get them off the primetime games. Like you are now losing audiences because of how bad these games are. Just put them at the 1 o'clock slot. Put them at the 4 o'clock if you have to. Get them off my primetime sheet.
Speaking of teams that deserve to be on your primetime sheet,
I can't argue.
We showed up on Monday night, baby. Cowboys 33-16 winners over the Raiders. Beat them down. Dominate. CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens, whatever the hell you two idiots were doing, get it together. They were benched on the first drive. They both handled it professionally in the press conference, talking about the personnel, and that was just what it was. That's how you're supposed to do this. Clearly, there was some kind of issue. Haven't figured it out yet. I haven't looked into it too much, but clearly something got them benched on the first drive. We go 3 and out. What a surprise. Listen, no, I'm taking all my wins, okay? I know the Raiders aren't good, but I'm taking my wins. Here's the only thing, though. Here's the okay. We keep talking about, hey, well, nobody's really great, so there's still a chance. This defense isn't the same. They have to build off this Raiders performance, but we actually have some talent on this defense with a couple of these trades, and especially with Quinn Williams coming in.
Agreed. However, it is the Raiders. But I will give you credit. If there is there's a handful of teams that I want to see on primetime games. That is you. Unfortunately, that is Arizona because they always put up points and give up points. It's the 49ers, it's the Bucks, and it's the Bills. Those are the 5 teams that if we're talking, hey, if you had to pick some teams to go on a slate every week, it would be those 5. And then because we need one more, throw a team in there that's fun. And I would give them to me. Because they are fun every game this year.
I've said that since the preseason. We're going to have fun. We're going to score some points. We may not win all the games, but we're going to have some fun. We got this one. What are we, 4-5-1 now? Oh, my goodness.
Hey, listen, you're second in the NFC East, by the way.
I know. Just Philly don't stop losing. That's the problem. So, hey, we're in the hunt, baby. That's all that matters. Your team's on a bye this week. The New Orleans Saints, they lost. The Indianapolis Colts, they tied. I'm not willing to give Danny Dimes a full bye week victory quite yet. But
Jonathan Taylor for MVP.
Sure. Whatever you say. I do want to do an update because it only matters to us. It is currently 0-0 in the 7th minute. Uruguay and the United States men's national team.
That will be put on the TV after this.
Absolutely. The United States men's national team have kicked off. You got anything else for me, Drewski?
No, sorry for ranting. Oh, honestly, we went back and forth most of this game. I think you as much as I wanted to get my points out because I'm not going to be here on Thursday, you wanted to throw your points at me because I'm not going to be here on Thursday. And so I think that meshed into a long episode today.
Absolutely. And that's why we are at 2 hours. That's the first time we've been at 2 hours in a long time. I apologize. My bad. Bathroom breaks for everybody. All right. That'll do it for us here on the Straub Bros Sports Show. Thank you for tapping in with us. As you heard, yes, this is our last duo show of the week. I will be riding solo on Thursday, which means tap your butts in on the comments. I actually have to have you show me how to put them up on the screen so I can do it myself and not forget. But yes, Drew, with that being said, your final shout out of the week.
Yes. Thank you, everyone watching, commenting. I would say liking, but no one has liked the show today, so do that before you leave. Anyways,
look at you feisty today.
I'm going to give a shout out because I can't do it on Thursday. Shout out to all the teams international break that is qualified for the World Cup and is the last window to qualify. And so Ken will fill you in on my graphic on who is going to make the World Cup. And so at that point, by this time next month, we will know what the groups are going to be and who the U.S. will play in the World Cup. So it's more of a shout out because I'm so excited.
That Kansas City trip coming real soon, baby. Do we have any idea who we're going to see yet?
No, that'll be figured out.
Okay, that's in there. Hey, that's perfect.
And you know what? If they're $2,000 tickets, maybe I consider selling them. I don't know what it is. No, I'm just playing.
I'll fight you. Not this way. Yes, thank you. I will be updating all your graphics on Thursday and my own. I got a lot of work to do. But that's all right. We're gonna get it done. Yes, shout out to all of that. Like I said, shout out to everybody. My guy Daniel, with the shares. Greg, for the record, we start at 5:15. All good that you come in late, but yes, if you want to hop in at the beginning, we do start around 5:15, maybe sometimes 5:16, 5:17. It gets a little iffy sometimes. But if you want to hop in, we appreciate you jumping with us again. As always, Mama, love you. As always, love you. Oos, I will see you in about 20 minutes. You already know it. Thank you, everybody who came in and all these people jumping in late. Tap back in, rewind, go back through. We did a lot of good work today.
Like it, rewatch it. Yeah.
Yes, like it, share it, tell your friends, tell your coworkers. Just don't tell mine. That'll do it for us here on the Straub Bros Sports Show. Much love to everybody. We vibing today, baby. As always, please remember to love yours.
Ken's got fire and a wild hot take. Andrew's stats make the whole place shake. Laughing loud when your team goes down. Straub boys run this sports town. STRAUB, two loud mouths and a love for the league. From Cleveland roots to the world we go. This is the Straub Bros Sports Show. This is the Straub Bros Sports Show. Sundays, Mondays, we live for